Everybody, welcome back to the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series. Once again, I'm OsmoQD, joined with Frodan. That was an exciting series.
It was a great series, man. I'm all amped up.
Also an exciting dance.
Just so many shenanigans happening today, man. Just between all of the crazy card combinations, Prophet Valen going to town, seeing Chakki be able to aggro people out the wall, and then or off the wall rather, and then we see Leadpaint with his crazy deck somehow getting all the way to the finals. Whoever wins the next 3 games, or sorry, the first to win 3 games in this next series, comes to the LAN finals. I'm actually incapable of casting because of my excitement level right now. I'm highly ineloquent.
Yeah.
Also because I ate a bunch of cashews, so there's a lot of...
You're all hyped up on natural fats.
Yeah, exactly. The polysaturated and monosaturated fats.
Indeed. Well, I mean, okay, so Chakki has 3 aggressive decks.
Mm-hmm.
And Leadpaint has 3 interesting decks. So this matchup is going to be really crazy. And this is, I mean, I won't be sad if either of these players make it to the LAN finals, because both these guys have super interesting personalities as well as playstyles. Chakki was at the Legendary Series Season 1 LAN finals, where he took 2nd place. And he did it with style. I mean, he brought Face Hunter, which is Chakki's own style. Leadpaint has qualified twice for the Legendary Series Open this season. So both
That's
these
right.
guys...
He gets 2 chances.
Chances.
He might not need that.
He might not need it.
Might just need 1.
So both these guys have really cool stories to get where they are today or right now. And both these guys really have a lot to gain from this. Chakki's still looking for his tournament victory. He has the forever 2nd curse.
But one thing you gotta like about Chakki is that he is the only one to bring Rogue today.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone else has been gravitating toward this Warlock and Druid and Hunter and Warrior combinations.
Yeah. And it's not just like a standard oil rogue. I mean, this rogue is... It's like not much that I've seen before. It's not like super aggro with like Argent Squires and Cold Blood.
Yeah, it's true.
It's very combo-oriented, I suppose. It's just got a lot of straight-up damage. Lots of really efficient straight-up damage. Arcane Golem, Cold Blood, Double Shadow Step, Eviscerates, but he also has like Oil with South Sea Deckhands, Blade Flurry.
It's just like things that do damage, period.
Yeah, exactly. And it's worked out for him. In the first matchup that he played, it was sort of a liability. It took him 3 chances to win. And in the second matchup, he faced off against Handlock and actually took a pretty good victory. We are going to jump into the first match. It's going to be Leadpaint on the Control Warrior, and Chakki is going to be throwing out the Face Hunter. Yeah.
All right, well, he's got an early curve. You want to hit that turn 1 drop, which is really important. And the thing about this deck is that you have to curve out really aggressively against the Warrior, and he has to be whiffing on his draws off his weapons. I guess he's contemplating whether or not it's... Oh, wait, never mind. It might be a spectator bug? Yeah, it is. It's like I was evaluating the coin being played. All right. So now that he has the weapon here, couple options. Mad Scientist, Haunted Creeper, both 2 drops. And he does have the weapon. He even showed it.
Yeah.
Mad Scientist is more damage. And, of course, you get ahead of your opponent by playing the Abusive Sergeant so you can get the damage with the Battlecry and the body.
And it makes it so you're guaranteed to have a creature on the board next turn, even if he swings with the axe and has something like a Cruel Taskmaster. So it's like the most efficient way to put on consistent damage. Which is what Face Hunter is all about. Efficiently going to the face.
He killed the Mad Scientist, which means that's Freezing Trap that's out, right?
Yeah.
So if it's Freezing Trap that's out, his Acolyte's not really going to be able to attack, right?
Wait, I think, yeah, Chakki's deck was running 2 Freezing Traps as well. I wonder if we can get a check on that from the spectator, just to be sure.
Do the magic wonders of Spectator Mode.
Maybe not.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
Dun, 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 dun.
no, it's explosive. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
I just need to finish the song.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the song. I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chakki's deck was the one with explosives, and the hybrid mid-range / Face Hunter was the one with the freezing traps. Evaluates, then decides to point his cursor at the face. He needs to override the
Yeah.
fireworks here to kill off this load deb.
And draws a card. But he's under so much heavy pressure that Pilot Shredder is just nasty. And he's kept the Tonic Creeper as well for synergy with the kill command, so this is sequenced out pretty well for Chakki so far. Armorsmith is a pretty significant draw, though.
Yeah, especially since he has lower drops here to be able to supplement the Armorsmith.
That's right.
If he so chooses. And this is a pretty decent hand for Control Warrior in general in Space Runners. You got a lot of things to do, a lot of low drops early on. To be able to draw cards pretty efficiently with the Acolyte of Pain. He's not very healthy, but he does have reliable ways to gain health with the shield block.
Is that what you say if someone is high? I guess so. They're healthy.
He's healthy.
Yeah, it's just kind of like weird. I never really thought about calling it that, you know?
Yeah.
He chooses not to drop the Armorsmith either before attacking into the Acolyte. Ah, that's pretty annoying.
Literally. I mean, it's really not that annoying.
I don't know how else to interpret it. Metaphorically annoying?
Double literally.
Literally.
I think that's actually pretty good.
The Neutron?
Yeah.
Well, it's great for Chakki.
He can't, yeah. Oh, no. I guess he can hide things behind it, but he can gain more health the Armorsmith. His Armorsmith is protected. It's going to survive even after the Neutron.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not much damage.
I'm just really, I think a lot of these small things, if Leadpaint ends up losing by 1 or 2 damage, I think a lot of these small things could be slightly optimized even better, which leads to, you know, maybe turning the point of the game. If you ever look at, in terms of whether or not sequencing things like really truly matters, you have to really evaluate these type of games on both ends. Is Chakki squeezing out as much damage as possible? Is Leadpaint letting any damage come in that he didn't need to?
Yeah.
Or even on the opposite end, not even gaining enough health, which he could. 4 and 13 has 17 health right now. He's got 4, 9, 10 damage at the moment. So he's going to 7 off. He's going to be whiffing on a lot of damage unless he can draw into better cards in the next couple of turns.
And of course, you always want to weave Face Hunter. You always want to weave in hero power, even if you have opportunities to put up more damage. Just because the damage from your hand is sort of guaranteed,
right?
But the damage from your hero power, you have to look at like
it's like drawing another card.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like every turn, you get a card in your hand that costs 2 mana that deals 2 damage. You'd rather do that. That disappears at the end of the turn. So you'd rather use that card than opposed to another card that would do almost the amount of damage, but it's still going to be there.
Shield Maiden, pretty impactful at this point. Going up to 19 health. This is starting to get farther away from what Chakki was wanting to gravitate towards. Lotheb instantly gets challenged by the Shield Maiden, but the good news is that it does shut down a lot of these spells. Well, in this case, spell from Leadpaint.
Yeah. Chakki's sort of running out of juice.
There's still that explosive trap, too. Okay. Hasn't been popped this entire game. And a second Shield Maiden. That is devastating.
All right, well, back up to 22. He ended this turn with more life than he ended the last turn.
Leadpaint just refuses to die with his warrior deck.
Yeah.
He is a survivor, indeed.
Rose came in. Hey, Leadpaint. Saw you discard that Soulfire twice. Get out, Mom.
We've all been there. It still hurts, man.
Yeah.
The wound is still fresh, and you're bringing it back.
Yeah.
Shame on you, TJ. For shame. The Death Bite to eventually just shut down this last little token here. And play the Acolyte of Pain. I'm wondering if there's still a way you can turn this around, because he's surviving. Like, don't get me wrong. As much as Chakki is still putting on pressure and Leadpaint has been surviving, like, Leadpaint can't keep this up forever.
Yeah. He's taking constant damage every turn. He needs to start piecing together damage himself.
Right.
And then he still has to worry about the explosive trap eventually.
And Chakki's evaluating because, you know, does he have enough damage to attack now in case his opponent has Sludge Belcher and finish the game, or does he wait for the bow charge so he can get an additional attack in?
Now it's sort of hard for Leadpaint to set anything up either, because unless it's like an Armor Smith, because he still has the Explosive Trap on the board. It's hard for him to attack with the Death Bite as well, because the Shield Mage is just going to die. I mean, he can set up Dr. Boom here.
Yeah. Do you attack into it now, or do you just hold and wait for like Alex Strauss?
I think if you're going to attack in, it's this turn, because you want to make Unleash the Hounds weak. So you get rid of 3 creatures off the board.
Ysera comes into hand. That's not terribly helpful.
Yeah.
8 damage. It's maximum from the Boombots.
All right, well,
Is that lethal?
That's game.
That's 8 damage.
Yeah.
And 8 health. And unfortunately, Leadpaint just couldn't hold on. The Warriors are supposed to stop some of the aggro.
Couldn't happen.
Every strike from this point on is another chance that he can't win with something like the Dragon Warlock, which could hypothetically on paper be good against aggro, but one of the least consistent.
Yeah. All right, well, Chakki takes a game up in the series, finds a win with the Hunter, and Leadpaint, he winced at the end there. He knew that was really rough for him. The implications of that loss were pretty big.
There was, specifically with Chakki's decks, though, the Hunter was the most refined aggro deck. If you look at the Zoo, it's definitely got some rough edges for some of the draws, and then the Rogue is always just suspect to, well, just not having the right things. You have Cold Blood and a Wolf Rider against a Sludge Belcher, no sap. It's like, you just completely lose all your momentum.
Yeah.
Those things can happen. But this Hunter deck, getting it out of the way, somewhat inevitable, especially against decks like the Warlock. So I think the Hunter was going to grab a win somewhere down the road. It's just, unfortunate that the Warrior was the first to not hold the line here. He needed to definitely get on the board as soon as he could.
Yeah.
Every game that you can kind of get to, even if you're 30% chance, you just want to get another chance to roll to see if you can squeak out a win with that Warlock deck.
Yeah, the Warrior deck for Leadpaint will probably be the one that he's going to find the win with the easiest. We're going into a match where it's either going to be Warlock or Rogue for Chakki. The Warlock deck could probably take wins against all 3 of these.
No, it can, for sure. You have the tools correctly for the scenarios, and if your opponent's playing like a big charger, you can heal up, you can play the Mortal Coil. It's just that you really lack the counterattack. You don't really have the Molten Giants, so you can survive, but the question is, can you kill your opponent before they kill you? I guess a deck like Rogue and the Warlock, yes. Leadpaint really needs to win this because I think his best chance is shutting down the Zoo aggro, in fact. But if you go up against Rogue and they're able to take out a win too, I mean, there's so many times where you just need more chances to win because the Druid doesn't draw correctly. You don't get the Wild Growth. You don't get the Innervate. The Warrior doesn't get the weapons.
Yeah.
The Warlock doesn't get the correct curve, and Imp Gang Boss doesn't show up till like the 20th card in your deck, and you don't have plays except tapping early on. You're just going to die. And Chakki has been capitalizing on this excellently, and he's gone back to his roots. A lot of times, Chakki just immediately switches it up. He plays like a super aggressive deck, and he plays a super control deck, and then he switches it up with some mid-range. But today, Chakki has returned, and he is coming home.
Return to his roots.
The prodigal son returns. All we need left is him to play Raynan and a bunch of emotes be flung, and just like old times, man.
Yep. Angry Reddit threads.
Oh, of course. That's the dessert course.
I casted that match.
Oh, you did. That's right. The NESL.
That's where I got my Hearthstone
Did you cast
start.
with like a Maz? Or?
I believe I was casting with the Maz that week. It was either a Maz or possibly Dart. Those are my 2
You're just name dropping all over the place.
PICs, partners in crime. Back in the day.
Coin Knife Juggler to just put on a little bit of pressure here. Testing to see if he has a War Axe, and if he doesn't, you can pretty much run with the game.
And in fact, there is no Fiery War Axe.
There is a Shield Slam for next turn, so that deals with it. At least he has removal for the Knife Juggler. Chakki, in the meantime, not going to be slowing down anytime soon. Picks up the Void Walker, so he can pair that with a 2-drop or even tap next turn. There's a weapon. So that's good news. The Death Bite, even more important too, honestly, because Fire War Axe only deals with the first couple of threats, but the Death Bite can really answer the mid-game threats. Things like the Haunted Creepers also get swept in by the Whirlwind effect.
Yeah. Also takes out Imp Gang Boss pretty effectively as well.
And there's the axes.
Came a couple turns too late, but I don't think Leadpaint's in a terrible position at the moment. The Warlock deck from Chakki, though, has a lot of, like, back-end burst. It's really weird. It runs double Dark Bombs. It runs double Soulfire and double Arcane Golem. And double Power Overwhelming. So even if you manage to chop through... like,
does he have, like, an Emperor Thorson in there? That'd be sick.
It's possible.
Maybe a Faces Manipulator. That'd be awesome.
I don't even know if he needs that.
Just Zoo combo. No, I know. He probably doesn't do that. If you're going to do that type of OTK, then you might as well just go for the straight-up draw and heal.
The other end of the spectrum.
But it'd be really funny if he had, like, just ridiculous amounts of damage.
In reality, this deck seems like it usually wins games before we even get to the point where you could even Faceless Manipulator, Power Overwhelming, Arcane Golem. Like, it seems like Chakki's been putting these players on like a 9-turn, 8 or 9-turn clock with most of his decks, with all of his decks.
Fender is the highest value play. He put out 4-5 worth of stats. Void Caller is just awkward, even though it does, discourage the Deathbite from getting full value. In this case, a lot of clears. Taskmaster and the Fiery War Axe re-equip. Setting up his way to have a really strong play to set up a good 6 mana cost minion. Lothop's not a bad draw at all. Although, now that he just played his Deathbite, Implosion and the Voidwalker is also on the board for availability.
Yeah.
Might like Implosion better considering how Deathbite was just used.
And since there's not a likelihood that spells will come down, even though Lothop's body's fantastic, 5/5 for 5 mana is great. It could also be a card that protects a large board from something like a Brawl.
Yeah.
So it has a lot more uses later on, whereas Implosion on a 2-health target is actually a pretty good time to use it, because you're guaranteed to kill.
I don't mind Thorson here, because Shield Maiden gains the life, sure, but you don't have Shield Slam. Emperor Thorson makes everything else cheaper so that in the following turns you can squeeze it out, because in turn 7 it's going to be equally difficult. You have Shield Maiden and something else like Execute, which you don't even know if you want to use if he doesn't have like a legitimate big target. So putting the Emperor Thorson makes it a lot cheaper. Your opponent wants to trade down anyways. And you only have 4 cards, so realistically you're not going to try to benefit off of it with insane synergy like, oh, Ysera, Execute, and Weapon. You know, like you're not going to be able to get too many cards drawn. So I think it's okay here.
And at 6 mana, you're not going to die.
The Shield Maiden is like if you want to bait out a bunch of attacks first, and then Emperor Thorson can come down uncontested, and then he gains you multiple turns of reduced cards. But that's still rather optimistic. Not to mention, what if you draw another Shield Slam and you need to use the Shield Maiden?
Yeah.
So, there are pros and cons of this. I mean, if his opponent didn't have the Ironbeak Owl, I would definitely say that this could be the best play.
Yeah. Well, he's going to throw down the Voidwalk into Lothep, but I'm not sure how effective that's going to be. Lothep's going to get traded into, but I guess it's an effective way to take out the Shield Maiden. But
okay. I mean, what Shield Maiden also does here is just basically buy him the time that he needs so he can figure out a win condition too. Acolyte of Pain, hopefully he draws a lot of cards, but looks like he won't be drawing any cards. Unless Chakki decides to save that owl for the Sludge Belcher, that's also possible. Might even be better.
Yeah. He can even throw a Dark Bomb at it if he wants to deny multiple draws.
Right. Yeah, and keep as much power on the board.
Yeah, because eventually the Owl, or you can even just use Abusive Sergeant to attack into it. Eventually the Owl could be more effective damage than what you'd throw into the
It's just that you get more repetitive damage by 1.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem high impact, but until it comes to the very threshold of the game. Remember, Strefko was off by 1 damage, Zoo against Warlock, or Zoo against Warrior.
Yeah.
And it's like you always underestimate the power of 1 damage until you need it the most.
So let's see how much damage he could do. If Leadpaint throws his Grom into the
Imp Gang boss.
The Imp Gang boss, there'd still be 6 power left on board. Oh no, well this takes off more power.
5.
Yeah.
5, 9, 12 damage.
Not there.
Yeah.
Oh,
now he can do. Now can you do 16? Is that true?
I think so.
5, 9. 12,
He can. That's exactly 16. And
There's no way.
can
Can he
Chakki
avoid 3 in a row?
will Chakki discard the Soulfire?
Yeah, but will this happen 3 times in a row when Soulfire just needs to not discard the Soulfire? Can science be debunked?
Well, better yet is will Leadpaint.
No, he goes for the security of mind.
He got both.
Oh wait, he did.
He got
went
both.
most of it.
And Leadpaint's like, why can't that happen to me?
Justice. Once upon a time, the scientists thought the world was flat, TJ. And up until today, I thought Soulfire always discarded the other Soulfire, but it turns out dreams can come true. Chakki is up 2-0. But, you know, that was a lot less funny if it happened the 3rd time.
Yeah.
I would have been rolling on the floor laughing, as the youngins say.
Scientists are writing up a new law now called the law of lead paint.
It's a corollary, I think. It only happens to lead paint, apparently. No one else.
Exactly.
Well, we might get an opportunity to see it, or Chakki might just steamroll 3-0 against his best anti-aggro deck. Warrior is supposed to be one of the best equipped control classes to disarm the aggressive archetype, but it hasn't been successful at all. Like, what's been going on?
Chakki's been eating Warriors for breakfast today with these aggro decks.
It's almost dinner time, so I think he needs to, you know, get a bigger fork and spoon because you don't really
breakfast for dinner.
You're gonna have a big meal coming up here in the finals.
Indeed. Well, he says 3 chances to find a win with the Rogue. He has to either be Warrior, Dragon Warlock, or Druid. Can he do it?
With the Rogue deck, that's the big limiting factor here. I mean, don't be surprised to see the Rogue deck drop a couple sets here, then we go to Game 5. It would almost certainly be sequenced like the Warrior, Druid, Warlock? Maybe the Warlock is slightly better.
Yeah.
Against Rogue.
It's happened in the past. Chakki, in his first match of the day, lost 2 of his games with the Rogue and ended up coming back with a close win in the very last series, so it's going to be tough. This is the deck that has the most liabilities included in its sort of win conditions. It's the least consistent.
Well, we're going to see Rogue once again. Chakki, the only person to bring Rogue today. The only person to bring Rogue so far. Although GCT Turth also was one of the few people to bring Priest.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's gravitating towards this Warrior and Warlock, Hunter, and Druid setup. More Druids today than yesterday, though. But plenty of Warlocks and Warriors.
Yeah, yesterday
and
was
Hunters.
not a very diverse field of decks.
No.
Today's been a bit better.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow, though. Tomorrow we have a couple of specialists. We have Silent Storm, who always throws in kind of wacky stuff. And Roger's a guy who's like Roger might be willing to play classes like Shaman. The Taiwanese are always interesting with their choices.
Yeah. Silent Storm's been known to...
Also, Dom dislikes Paladin. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen really Paladin so far this week.
He had mild success with it in his Legendary Series week.
Yeah. Average result, middling results. All right, Leadpaint going to start off. Coin Armorsmith into Armorsmith and the Acolyte of Pains on turns 2 and 3. Chakki, in the meantime, very awkward hand. This is something that we might see a couple games this Rogue struggling with to get going. But don't underestimate it. It's just that the double Armorsmith start is really hard to get over.
Yeah, it's one of the best anti-aggro starts. Sludge Belcher as well. I mean, he has double Armorsmith into Acolyte of Pain into Despite. Like, that's one of the... into Sludge Belcher. That's a really strong start.
Yeah, I guess you can just play the Auto Barber here.
Yeah.
Would you attack into one of these 1/4s?
I think so.
If only he had Deadly Poison. If he had Deadly Poison, he would have attached to this weapon and have 4 damage and kill off one of the 1/4s.
Yeah. This is effectively trading... I mean, this could effectively trade 2 for 1. If he doesn't have a way to deal with this on this turn and then attacks in with both of these.
Speak to me.
He's going to gain a lot of health, but they are going to go down in flames. Goblin Auto Barber. And MVP.
Cold Light is interesting. Considering that it enables your opponent to draw a lot. And control decks always want to draw cards. Now, ooh, let's see. You can Shadow Step this. And you can even force the opponent to draw a lot. No, it's only going to draw like 8 or 9 cards max. Okay, there's really no point then. So he Shadow Steps it and holds and passes over the turn. What do you think about that, TJ?
Is quite interesting because if he was denying draw, then he wouldn't have Cold Light or Cold in the first place.
Well, no, he doesn't want his opponent to draw. Well, he doesn't want to play anymore and then let his opponent draw even further. If he played it one more time, his opponent wouldn't even have milled any cards. He would have had 9 cards in his hand.
Yeah, and also...
Or 10, because he would have attacked with the Acolyte.
Yeah. And also there's a small advantage for drawing cards on your own turn as opposed to drawing cards on your opponent's turn.
Oh, there's a large advantage. You get to set up the threat first. If he picked up, you know, if he's playing Death's Bite or he needed a 4-drop, he could set it up so that way he curves into it much better.
So giving him more draws and potential for draw on his own turn is riskier than just holding onto the Cold Light Oracle and giving the draws on your own terms.
Drake backstab just to remove the Acolyte. Leadpaint has removal onto the Drake, but pretty decent start once again for the Warrior to stabilize from any early game aggression.
Yeah, Chakki's got a lot of health to get through as well. But we've seen before that this Rogue deck has just... once it gets to the late game, you can start piecing together combos. Even just like 2-card combos. Like the Tinker Sharpstone Oil with South Sea Deckhand or like Arcane Golem with Cold Blood. He can start piecing together lots of damage once you get to those turn 8, turn 9 areas.
Evaluating if he can go for the Cold Light Oracle just to draw is still a little bit awkward. Second Blade Flurry now is useful. Now the Oil is really potent because he has a South Sea Deckhand.
Yeah. That ends up...
I mean, if you Blade Flurry, that's end up being like 13 damage.
Yeah.
2 Eviscerates.
I mean, Tinker Sharpstone Oil could also be comboed with even more expensive things later in the game as well.
Yeah, he's got 2 Eviscerates, which is 21, and then 2 Arcane Golem hits is 29. And despite all that, his opponent would still be okay because he has 38 health plus ways to gain even more.
Yeah.
He's got Shield Block, Sludge Belcher. Each of those are effective health gains that Leadpaint's going to be putting on. Chakki's in a really tight spot. He might feel like he has to remove this 2-2 just to protect his investments onto the board, because he definitely wants it to stick, but the important thing is how he generates damage outside of what's in his hand. Because if he puts out all of his hand damage, like say he's allowed to play that in 1 turn, which he isn't, but if he was able to, it's still like 8 to 10 points short.
He'd be short. Every single card in his hand costs 0 mana.
Right.
What now?
He'd still be short, even after drawing that many cards. I mean, we can't count him out yet, but...
No, he's not out of it. It's just like a long journey.
Yeah.
This game has slowed down considerably. Deadly Poison is really powerful, though. Because that like add another 4 damage. But the Sludge Belcher is really problematic. How do you get past this thing?
All right, so we can use... Deadly... no. All the damage that he's going to pump into this is really weird. He has to like use his South Sea Deckhands if he wants to.
Yeah, I'm guessing I'm looking at using one of the Blade Flurries here.
Yeah.
So if you use Deadly Poison, attack, it's awkward. What about using Eviscerate instead? South Sea, Eviscerate, hit the with weapon, attack, and redagger. That might be a play.
Yeah.
If you use that, one South Sea is gone, but you still have another one.
And he'd still hold on to Oil in that situation. He'd still hold on to Blade Flurry, which aren't as flexible as Eviscerate later on in the game.
He needs to go soon, just because the Sludge Belcher animation, I'm always afraid of it. So if it's South Sea Eviscerate...
He's keeping cool under pressure. Doing Chakki things. Did he get it?
I don't think so. Or did he? Okay, we got the weapon read dagger. That's the important thing. No!
Wow.
Uh-oh, he missed the attack. So now that it gets picked off, that slime is really annoying.
Back to work.
Didn't make his turn quite quick enough.
Job's done.
Granted, it was a tough turn, but
It's still a pretty big deal because now it's not a direct damage shot. Sab.
he's also starting to take some damage on the backside as well. I mean, he's at 19 health.
That's true, but it's like that's something that you can't really consider too much until it's like the very, very end stages of the game.
Yeah. Health is one of your greatest resources when you're playing an aggro deck.
Let's count again. South Sea Deckhands 2. Deadly Poison Tinker Towns is another 6. Blade Flurry is another 6, so that's 18 plus this 8 from the Arcane Golem Shadow Step.
It's only 24 damage.
Yeah.
Or 26 damage. Especially since no matter which way he slices this, he's sort of has wasted damage. Because he has to use the 2 extra damage from the dagger just attack into a slime.
Why did he attack into the slime? Am I missing something?
He had to. What other way would he have had to clear it?
Oh, right, because he loses charge on the South Sea. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, people always forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's it only has charge if you have a weapon. It's not like Warsong Commander where like once it's given charge, it's just given charge. It has charge as long as you have a weapon.
Yeah. There's been a lot of clips on
Of
Reddit
people
and
failing like
otherwise
that?
of
Yeah.
people thinking they have lethal using Blade Flurry before they attack him with the South Sea deckhand.
Oh, the good old days of Forsen.
I wasn't naming names.
Definitely were some fun times.
Well, he's starting to pump out some damage here, but I mean, he's empty through his whole hand, and that was a double Cold Light Oracled hand. And now he's just left with Arcane Golem Shadow Step Eviscerate, which is 12 damage from hand. But Leadpaint's still at, what was that, 25 health?
Something like that.
25 health. Can he even play Ysera? Very vulnerable to sap.
Yeah, it's a little greedy. Emperor Thorson is the safer play because you can still armor up.
Yeah.
The whole point is you run your opponent out of damage in this matchup sometimes as the warrior.
Yeah.
So Emperor Thorson reducing everything. Leadpaint is looking to climb back right now, but Chakki doesn't really have enough damage even to remotely contest it. He doesn't have anything to be afraid of. 8, 11, 15 damage right now.
Yeah.
That's what he's got.
15 damage. Even if the Shadow Step Arcane Golem survived and he got to swing again next turn, we still only have 23 damage and it wouldn't even kill him.
Right.
And that's if Leadpaint literally just passed the turn. Next turn. It did absolutely nothing.
So he's going for it now because he needs to get that damage in. No point in keeping it on the board, though. I wonder if he's going to play it now or just save the Arcane Golem.
Oh, he's going to play it now and use the sap to try and protect it, but it's not really going to do much in the ways of that.
Right.
Puts it down to 13.
I mean, he still put out a good amount of damage.
He's out of cards.
He is out of cards, and his opponent has Shield Slam to deal with this.
He needs like Cold Light Oracle into massive amounts of direct damage next turn.
Just plop Thorson again in the draw. Ysera, doesn't matter. Pick your choice of weapon here.
I mean, Cold Light Oracle into Arcane Golem Cold Blood is lethal.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, because he would have had 3 damage from Dagger. Cold Light Oracle draws 2 cards. Can play Arcane Golem, Cold Blood, and Eviscerate for 12 damage. Still with a couple mana to spare. But it's a very unlikely scenario.
Sure.
But it is something to point out that Chakki is, even through all this, has put himself in a position to win the game.
Right. And is that game?
Yeah. Grom, Ysera awakens, 15-19.
All right. Well, Leadpaint finally gets onto the board, but if he couldn't win against this rogue deck, then it just wasn't in the cards for him, or in the stars, or I guess cards works too.
Yeah.
But this is one of the best decks against a deck like the rogue. So we were expecting this, and Chakki was somewhat expecting this too. I think that's why he's not really unhappy. But he still got to win against the druid. He still has to win against the warlock, and I liked Chakki's chances still coming from this point on.
Yeah, having 3 opportunities to win with even your weakest deck still gives you a high chance to win the series. I can imagine that Leadpaint's going to try and save this Warlock for last, because I think that's probably going to be one of the toughest.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him queued up right now. I think Druid is pretty reasonable in terms of like how it fares against it. There's a lot of the small minions you can Wrath, a lot of the 1 health, loot hoarders, and the Wolf Riders you can swipe. So I liked going for Druid, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. You just have to just go for whatever you feel is best.
He's also put the Warlock in timeout.
Yeah.
For disobeying him.
I mean, the thing is, Leadpaint, that is like his claim to fame. If he makes it to the finals here, people are just going to remember his Warlock deck. More importantly, what didn't happen with the Warlock deck, which is 2 Soulfires hitting.
And then if he
back
makes
to back.
if he makes it to the Legendary Series Land Finals with a victory in this series, and then doesn't bring Dragon Warlock,
I'll be pretty sad. But
people are going to be outraged.
I feel like he's also done this the last time we saw him in the past couple of weeks. He also brings like an interesting take on decks. He's not afraid to shake it up.
Yeah. Or shake it off.
Wow, that was a really good reference.
Yeah.
Good call back, TJ.
Especially since you mentioned the Taylor Swift.
Yes, exactly.
No, especially.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well met. Throwing out the memes. All right, well, Chakki's still 1 win away from securing a spot at the Legendary Series Land Finals.
That is a really good curve. He's got 3, 4, 5 with innervates that can weave in. Leadpaint can also take his time, just hero power down this loot hoarder. Ooh, he's got a turn 3 Thorson. If he heroes this down, turn 3 Thorson, he'll have 4 mana Sludge Belcher for the following turn, and then he got a 5 mana Shade and the Pilot Shredder combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Wild growth.
Talk about making everything cheaper.
Wow.
Or easier to play. He's almost got it all. Chakki, of course, does have Blade Flurry. That's something that might be working in his favor here.
Deadly Poison, Tinker, Sharp Soil, as well as Blade Flurry.
Right. So he can get past a huge wave of minions.
And
one thing that I love about Rogue, I just absolutely love, is the fact that above everything else, it has, like, no matter how aggressive or defensive it is, Blade Flurry is just ridiculous. It's borderline OP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think about it, what if I told you Flame Strike hit the face? Consecration for
strong.
4 mana does 2 damage to everything, and Blade Flurry for a combination of a few mana does even more than that. Plus, it scales like crazy.
Yeah, that's true. It is a strong card.
It's just nuts.
Definitely not as consistent, because you do have to have weapon buffs in order to be able to do that.
Right.
And it is sort of slightly limited by taunt, but I do agree with you. Cooled Oracle, I think this is one of the key cards in the deck. A lot of in these aggressive rogue decks, a lot of times since they don't have like natural draw mechanics,
right.
They don't have a hero power that puts their opponent on the clock. They need cards like Cold Light Oracle to sort of have that longevity, have that reach.
I feel like timing is just so hard to nail down sometimes with the Cold Light. If you play it too early, you end up gimping yourself. He just goes for the oil. Straight up, 6 damage. What's up? Hits the face. He's going to flurry and just clear whatever his opponent comes out next turn.
Yeah. This has been a pretty ridiculous start from Leadpaint. But I mean, Chakki's got near perfect answer for this.
Late
With-
flurry and SI on the 1-2.
Yeah.
So he can free it up for his chargers. Haunted Creeper is definitely annoying. Oh, I forgot about the God Water Bar. That's also a possibility. Good spot. And even more mana efficiency.
Yeah. That's a lot of damage being piled on. Leadpaint's already at 14 health. He does have some ways to stop damage. He's got the second Sludge Belcher here.
Yeah, so
And
I can Sludge
keep it
Belcher
growth.
with an Innervate. That's
Yeah.
huge. He's got both Innervates and the Wild Growth to start things off. Chakki is pissed.
You wouldn't guess it by looking at his face, but he's pissed. No way!
Wait, okay, hold on. It's still not time yet, though. You have to make sure to sequence this right. Sapping means he's just gonna play it anyways. You have 6, 8 damage right now. You might have to Cold Oracle just to draw more.
Yeah.
But of course, it comes down to the point where
Just having
you might
the
have
sap.
him, you might give him the combo. Next turn you'll have 8 mana. You can sap. You can play 2 of these minions.
Sap, Arcane Golem, Wolf Rider. It'll be 7 damage from the hand.
2 from the weapon.
It wouldn't be enough.
You can use SI and the South Sea deckhand as well.
This guy's toast.
South Sea to the face. That is man mode. Leadpaint has swiped though. Oh my goodness, Ancient of Lore. But of course, you could say he top decked that. But it was also a lot to do with the fact that Chakki helped him draw cards.
Yeah, with the Cold Light. Cashes in on Sludge Belcher while he still can. Trades in. Cold Blood.
4, 8, 11, 15, 17 damage. If he was allowed to hit face with everything here for maximum mana, he would have had lethal.
Yeah. And he's going to go ahead and clear off the Sludge Belcher. No reason to use the sap, like you said. If you use the sap, he's just going to play it anyway. And it's not going to be really going to be a turn here where you can sap the Sludge Belcher and be able to
Oh my
push
God.
through.
Here we go. Just Cold Blood to the face. Reattach the weapon in case he draws second Deadly Poison. This is getting really tense, but how much damage on the opposite end? 5, 8, 12, 16 damage?
It's not quite there. But, I mean, Chakki's on a draw or 2 here to close it out.
He's going to need some help, though, because even if he saps, he only has 5 damage. And his opponent is almost certainly going to hero power here, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's your duty as a Druid player to just keep hero powering as much as you can, gaining 1 life.
Does he have any draws here where he can push through? He's going to need 6 damage. I don't think so. Unless he's got a
Cold
Leroy
Light.
tucked in there. He wouldn't even have enough mana for that. Well, Lidhooter lets him get further, but he's dead next turn.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, swipe. The sap doesn't help him.
Yeah, not even swipe. He can just keep her to
I'm
the
telling
face.
you, man, I really want to like this rogue deck. But if you want to play an aggressive rogue, it's like, it's just, you run into this risk every single time. It just sometimes comes up a little bit too short because of the inconvenience of how things have panned out since Nax Rammus, GVG, and all these other expansions came out, which help you handle aggro.
Yeah.
It'd be so crushing for Chakki to like try to bring something so new to the table. Again, having this aggressive rogue, and once it's liable, right? His other series, the rogue, ended up almost costing him the series.
Well, we're going to a game number 5 once again. Seems to be a trend today. It's been a long, intense day of Hearthstone action, but we're about to jump into the conclusion. Chakki vs. Leadpaint, game number 5.
Well, just to taunt him, even the next card you drew would have been Azure Drake, so that would have been helpful to refill the hand, but not necessarily a guarantee for him to win the game off the lethal. So that deck is definitely floundering at this point, and it was very curious because we've come down to these 2 decks, which we were questioning which can beat the other.
It's hard to say.
Right, because the Malygos version, I'm even more afraid because it's like, how do you actually turn back and win unless your opponent just does not have the pressure necessary? Like, if he doesn't have SIs on the board and you don't have the Dark Bombs, you're just taking a lot of damage. And then if you ever try to play a taunt or defensive card, he saps it, and then he just kills you.
Yeah.
On the flip side, if you get the Twilight Drake, and then Chakki just keeps taking damage, and he's drawing his second Blade Flurries, he's drawing his backstabs, and doesn't have any minions, it's very easy for Chakki to get the wrong half of his deck, and then just does not have anything to play in a couple turns.
Yeah. Well, this is super fitting for a game number 5. Both of these guys, I mean, I guess we could call them signature decks. Leadpaint with the Dragon Warlock. He's had some tough times with it today, but overall it's been relatively successful.
Chakki's already unhappy, doesn't have the coin.
Yeah, that's actually pretty rough.
And Mortal Coil, Dark Bomb, Farseer to start off the day here for Leadpaint.
Winner takes all. Winner of this game goes on to the Legendary Series Land Final. Loser stays home. Unless it's Leadpaint, then he gets another try tomorrow. But that's 50% of his chances gone. And that's brutal to have to play through 2 times. He played a lot of matches.
Group D is also really competitive.
Yeah, super.
That's your cue, TJ, to tell me who's in Group D.
Oh, yeah, I have it right from memory. Oskaka, Caldi, Tom, Amaz.
Yeah, those are players that you always see in tournaments.
Yeah.
Second Cold Blood, that's so much damage already.
Yeah.
He's got like a third of his opponent's life already in the books, in his mind. But he's slowing down a little bit. And this gives an opportunity to set up the Farseer. Oh, coin Twilight Drake.
I mean, Leadpaint has a lot of ways to stop it. He said, you talked about Mortal Coil and Earthen Ring Farseer.
Right.
He's got Sludge Belcher plus Anti-Keelbot. I mean, he's got a lot of ways to just sort of stall damage.
I think Chakki might just consider plopping down the South Sea and double Cold Blooding or something equivalent. Maybe 1 Cold Blood and re-weaponing. He needs to just start putting damage out. Like, it's just too hard to ask to let your opponent seize the board and start putting too much pressure on.
Yeah.
So many options.
Would you consider doing double Cold Blood?
I think you sort of value redaggering here.
Yeah. Just mixing it up.
Yeah. Just because this is the... Oh, wow.
Okay, he goes for the trade.
This is the most efficient use of damage. Use you getting the extra damage from the dagger. Sort of similar vein to, like, Hunter.
Yeah. But I think this Drake is really important with the backstab. That's really huge. Oh, man, that's actually so huge right now because the Eviscerate will take care of whatever comes out next, and his opponent can't deal with it.
But he's having to play like a control-type style
Right.
with this rogue deck, like trading in with the South Sea Deckhand plus Cold Blood, and
It's
then
okay.
if he eviscerates this Azure Drake.
Well, it's okay as long as he can leverage something on the board, right? The whole point of this, like, the whole point about Rogue is that its tempo is absolutely insane because of the combo mechanism. It allows you to grab, like, some serious tempo just through, like, removal of the board, and then you can usually push it. That's why Violet Teacher's is, like, so amazing with it. But, you know, Chakki's gone to just full-on aggression. Like, this is a scenario where you have to weigh, do I play like Auto Barber, Eviscerate, and then Cold Blood my Drake and then hit the face? Like, that's the kind of stuff where you really have to start reading your opponent. He couldn't remove the Drake. He played his own Drake for an answer. I probably should try to see if I can push this Drake as far as I can. Cold Blood is going to do 4 damage anyways to the face. That's kind of the priority of it.
Yeah.
But then how do I deal with the Azure Drake?
This guy's toast.
You can use the dagger and the SI7 agent here, and he will be able to push for damage for this. This is a scary board. Oh, he didn't. He didn't use the Cold Blood.
Right, he's still waiting to see his opponent's hand. He doesn't want to invest too heavily into it. He wants his opponent to really go hard into trying to play removal. Plus, right now it's like a Hellfire, Mortal Coil, and Cry. Like, wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Drake Mortal Coil for 2.
Job's done.
It's pretty good, but this Drake is pretty susceptible.
A lot of spells for removal, though. Interesting. Shadow Step on the Drake would be pretty helpful to draw a card, but it doesn't do much else. It just kind of fills out the curve, which you might need. Plus, it's a combo enabler, so that way Eviscerate can also be live.
Yeah.
How much damage does he have right now if he Blade Flurries? He's got 7, 9, 14, 18 damage. Whew.
It's not enough. Not nearly enough. And that's such
He can do that, but it costs his entire mana as well.
yeah, and it also is like a real, not an inefficient use of damage, but you can't just go all out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since he needs to be able to handle this Azure Drake.
He might go halfway and then Shadow Step the SI7 as they're attacking and then kill off the Drake.
Yeah. This way he still preserves all the damage in his hand.
Still no Cold Blood usage though.
He's saving that for the final
He's saving it
burst.
for a big, yeah, to just surprise his opponent. The only time you'd use this Cold Blood is usually to get the charge damage, but if you can double dip, sometimes it's the game-winning play.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be back in the day with cards like, you know, Argent Squire, because you could get 2 attacks in.
Yeah.
But that was a long, long, long time ago.
Super annoying. When I first saw this deck, I actually had guessed or presumed that it would have Argent Squires, but we've seen that it doesn't. It's like more consistent damage, I
Right.
suppose, like more oriented towards
Mhm.
bursting out in the later stages of the game instead of getting off the crazy starts.
Sure.
Because he hasn't really had a crazy start like at all. Like none of his games, even the ones that he's won, his starts were pretty slow rolling.
If there's a question of whether or not Drake's been worth it in this type of deck, some people always say, yeah, you top out on like the Chargers, right? But Drake's done 3 attacks so far.
Yeah.
It's 12 damage.
Now
He's
he's seen
got-
his anti-heal bod, he can...
Yeah, he's got 13, 14 damage right now. He's still short by a considerable amount.
But he's starting to wear him down.
The
And
question is, how long will Leadpaint tolerate this Drake?
I'm surprised he tolerated it for this long. I mean,
Right.
he's
Hasn't
really
soul-fired
holding on to those soul fires.
He just really wants the opportunity to shut his opponent out. And this might be it right here. The Soulfire onto the Drake, which is pretty devastating. Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
way.
I don't even get it at this point.
It is
Someone
the
from
law.
Blizzard. Someone from Blizzard is watching Leadpaint's game
Pulling
in real
letters,
time
pulling levers, and just cackling.
and hard coded, like the actual law of Soulfire.
Leadpaint wasn't even surprised by that one. He was just
No,
like,
he's not even phased. He's been desensitized.
Yeah, I guess that would happen.
This is what happens when you overplay the joke, Blizzard. It's not funny anymore. Stop.
You're making Dan angry.
Okay, Drake is something, but he's going to need some help. It's 12 damage.
Wow.
12 damage, and if he could get sap. 12 damage, you can get sap. So there is a realistic possibility here.
But he might want to throw out this Shadow Step just to be able to get
Another
more draw.
card?
Yeah.
I don't know. If he gets sap, he has 13 damage right here.
He's only got a couple turns to work with. Because he's going to start to take a lot of damage on them.
Oh, it's so painful. Is he worried about dying? No, 7, 10. No, he can definitely take a turn of punishment. This Drake is going to die no matter what, no matter how much he tries to protect it. Second Hellfire.
It's not very useful.
No, the Zombie Chow is not really that useful either. Implosion, just kind of doing whatever. 4 is pretty annoying, though, just because it's just more damage.
It also sets up lethal
Yeah.
next turn.
So it's sap or nothing.
This could
sap
be it.
Could be it.
Oh
Or
my goodness.
Cold Light into a sap? No.
Loot Hoarder.
And I think that's it.
Wow.
Is there any other way that he can draw a card?
I mean, he can clear off the Sludge Belcher with Arcane Golem and Cold Blood, but is that... If he does that, he's pretty much... No, that's lethal anyway, because the Hellfires.
Yeah, he's got 6 damage from hand.
I don't think there's any way.
This Loot Hoarder needs to be a novice engineer. And finally, it seems like we have gotten our 6th player to land, TJ.
Indeed it does. There's still a slight amount of hope here.
No, it's about to get crushed.
I think with these Hellfires, though. 7 damage on the board, 8 damage on the board. 9, 10, 11, 12. Leadpaint's eyes get big. As soon as he passes over this turn, he throws his hands in the air. And Leadpaint is the 6th player to go to the Season 2 Legendary Series LAN Finals. Nice.
Well done, man. A really good set of games today. Chakki is devastated. Oh, man. And the last card he would have drawn was the Colite Oracle. And once again, second place for Chakki in the Redemption Tournament means he is not coming back to the Season 2 Finals. Remember, Chakki also came in Season 1 Finals, where he was able to place second there. And it just seems to be coming up short every single time. Leadpaint, in the meantime, the story's about him.
Indeed.
The story of how he keeps discarding his soul fires, and despite having that inconvenience, manages to win the day. What a well-played set of games. I've really enjoyed today, TJ. This was a lot of fun.
3 times in a row, uses Soulfire and discards his other Soulfire. The first one, he was like, ah. The second one, he was like, ah. And the third, he was just like, okay.
Yeah.
That's
it's what happens when that's the sound of a horse that's dead getting soul fired and discarding the other soul fire.
Yeah. Well, Leadpaint,
that's what the sound was.
Leadpaint will be joining us for the LAN finals. He's going to join Kalento, Life Coach, Kabi, Raynad, and, of course, we saw last week, Trump, and now Leadpaint. That's the 6-player lineup that's going to be at the LAN finals.
That's right.
That is awesome. I'm not even going to lie.
It's a good set of storylines. I think Leadpaint has definitely put a lot of people on notice. I can't wait for the highlight reels where people kind of pick apart the fun moments of today and show people the ridiculous nature of what we witnessed. But in case you guys didn't see it, let's go ahead and recap what happened today, TJ.
Yeah. Wait, do we have, like, a video? No, okay. Okay, there's the bracket.
Yeah, so
I got very confused for a second.
to start
there,
things off,
Dan.
we had Chakki versus Bunny Muffins, where Chakki was able to win. And then Leadpaint started off his rampage through Modern Leopard, where we witnessed some really close games back and forth, but that was the only series that didn't go the distance. Then Strifeco managed to beat Cross in a pretty tight set of games, but was not able to defeat Leadpaint as he went all the way, which means, TJ, people in Group D are rejoicing. Because Leadpaint, since he's qualified, does not have to play in the second try over in Group D.
Yes, that means Group D will only have 6 players. So at least one person will have to win one less game.
That's right.
In order to get there. But I believe we do have an interview set up with our winner, Leadpaint. So
I have so many questions for this guy, man.
All right. Hey, Leadpaint, how's it going?
Hey, man, fantastic. Hey, guys.
First
hey,
off,
dude, congratulations.
Yeah.
What's it like? What's the feeling at the moment? Because you seem to be very expressive. This moment must be really special for you.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good because now I don't have to play on Sunday. So, I get to sleep, like, extra, which is fantastic.
That's
I
right.
value street sleep very high.
It's the Lord's Day, which you can make up to him so that way your Soulfire doesn't discard the other Soulfire.
Oh, that hurt. Yeah, what was that, like a 1 in 8? Yeah.
Yeah. That was 3 times in a row that your Soulfire discard the other Soulfire. Actually, can you tell us a little bit about that Warlock? Like, where did that Warlock come from? Why did you decide to bring it? Give us a little bit more info about that deck.
Well, I felt like that deck was going to be really good in this format because I expected a lot of hand luck and Patron Warrior, and I like the matchup against both of those. I think I know it was a lot of people had a lot of success with it on Europe. I think it might be JJ's deck, or I saw JJ102 playing it quite a bit. But me and a friend of mine made the change to it to put in the gang bosses over the technicians because we think it's strictly better that way. And it's so much fun to play. And I figured, I might as well bring Malagos to a tournament, Someone's got to do it.
Really fun stuff overall. Who's the friend that you were practicing with, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
A buddy of mine named Vank Swisher. He's a really good deck builder and player.
Awesome. Is he also on your team, or is it just a person that you've been practicing with a while?
He's one of my teammates.
Sick.
He's a very strong player.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Southern California?
Not since I was like 10 years old. So it's going to be exciting.
Gotcha. Where are you hailing from right now?
I am in the middle of nowhere, Missouri.
Oh, I love middle of nowhere. It's beautiful this time of year.
It's fantastic.
That's great, man. Well, congratulations so much. Is there anything that you'd like to say, as a shout out to your team or your fans or anything specific before we let you go?
Just shout out to Casey Tron for supporting me and our team, the Grand National Champions, and everyone who's cheered me on along the way. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well,
thank you very much.
Looking forward to seeing you, man. Congratulations once again, and well played.
Thank you. Take care.
What a cheery guy, man.
Yeah. I love the players that make it through open.
Yeah, and
Because they seem
you
more
can see they
emotional.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, guys like Strife Crew have been there for a long time. It'll be one of those things where it's like, yeah, you know, I'll just play, and then I'll get on the plane and fly to another event.
Mhm.
And it's not that they're unappreciative of it. It's just that, you know, they have a lot to do, and they're very busy because they're in such high demand. But for guys like Leadpaint, this is the opportunity to really put themselves on the map. Really fun decks, good play, and something that, you know, people, leaves a memory, an impression on people. That's really powerful as we start seeing more of his team, which maybe we'll be able to see his other teammates, and then finally there's another team that's joining, you know, Cloud9, Archon, Nihilum, Temple Storm in terms of the top teams in Hearthstone.
Yeah. He actually has a chance to become a real Grand National Champion.
Sure.
Indeed, for his team.
Sure.
Of course, he'll be joining us at the Legendary Series LAN Finals. And that LAN Finals where we're going to fly 16 players out would not be possible without our sponsors. Big shout out to them, Plantronics and Gigabyte, for making everything we do just even more cooler, including all of the commercials. So if you want to support what we do with the Legendary Series and support what we're going to do with Hearthstone in the future, make sure you head to those links below. Maybe get some Plantronics headsets, some Gigabyte motherboards, upgrade your gear with some sweet sponsor swag.
Yeah, actually, I built the PC and I have a Gigabyte motherboard. Turns out that was the best one to use, so
Yep.
who knew? And that is a really good way for us to talk also about the social media. Let us know what you guys thought, too, at ESL Hearthstone, hashtag HLS, and also talk to other people about what's going on. For example, next week, we're also having the Open Last Call Qualifier,
Indeed.
TJ.
Yeah, the Last Chance Qualifier, it's only open to North American players because we actually have 8 spots from that Last Chance Qualifier that will get directly seeded into the Legendary Series LAN Finals. Flown out here, all expenses paid trip. And since it's so close to the Legendary Series LAN Finals due to flight and visa restrictions,
Right.
Only North American players would be able to get here in time for the event.
So it's to give out the championship points,
Indeed.
which require 8 players open, 8 through the invites, and Leadpaint, of course, winning another invite through the qualification process. A little backwards there. But we've had a lot of fun today. Is there anything else we want to say, TJ, before we let everyone go and tell them about tomorrow?
I think we wanted to take one more look at the bracket.
Okay.
Just to, for those of you who didn't join us before the interview, to see what actually happened over the course of the day. Leadpaint, of course, you can see the champion. We saw Chakki, Bunny Muffins, Modern Leper, Leadpaint, Cross, Strife Crow, and GCT Turf battle out. We had a lot of 3-2s today. It was really long, really intense.
Yep, only
day.
1-3-1. That was Modern Leper series to start off the day.
Yeah, and it was definitely really exciting. So, again, thank you guys for tuning in. For myself, from Frodan, from everybody here at ESL, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.